An all-female Soviet bomber regiment flew wooden biplanes at night with their engines cut to avoid radar, dropping bombs in near silence, and the Nazis paid a bonus to anyone who shot one down. They flew 24,000 missions. They dropped more than 23,000 tons of bombs. 32 of them died, and the German airmen who hunted them at night called them Die Nachthexen, the night witches, because the only warning before the bombs fell was a sound like a sweeping broom. In 1941, after Germany invaded the Soviet Union, Soviet aviator and Air Force navigator Marina Raskova appealed directly to Stalin for permission to form all-female combat aviation regiments. Stalin agreed, and 3 were established in October 1941. The 588th Night Bomber Aviation Regiment was given aircraft and equipment that reflected exactly how seriously the Soviet military took the idea of women in combat. They were issued Polikarpov Po-2 biplanes, crop dusting and training planes built primarily of plywood and canvas with a maximum speed of 90 miles per hour. For comparison, the German Messerschmitt Bf-109 fighter they might face had a top speed of over 350 miles per hour. The women were also given no parachutes. The chutes were too heavy. No radios, no guns, no radar, no modern instruments. In place of sophisticated targeting equipment, they navigated with rulers, stopwatches, pencils, and hand-drawn maps. They flew anyway, every night. The tactic they developed to compensate for their aircraft's total vulnerability was unconventional, effective, and terrifying. Each mission involved 2 planes, one serving as a decoy, drawing searchlights and anti-aircraft fire, while the other cut its engine and glided silently toward the target. In total darkness with no engine noise, the only sound the Germans heard before the bombs hit was the faint whooshing of wind through the plane's wooden struts. It sounded, the German soldiers said, like the sound of a witch's broom sweeping the sky. The pilot would release her bombs, restart her engine, and climb out of the target area at full throttle. Then the 2 planes switched roles and did it again. Each pilot flew between 8 and 18 missions per night. They would land, reload 2 bombs, one under each wing, the plane's maximum capacity, refuel, and take off again. On the busiest nights, each crew flew up to 18 times. The German response was to issue a standing order. Any Luftwaffe pilot who shot down a night witch would receive the Iron Cross, the Wehrmacht's most prestigious military decoration, automatically. No additional criteria required. Despite this incentive, shooting down a PO-2 in the dark was nearly impossible. The biplanes flew too slow and too low for most fighters to track. A Messerschmitt approaching a PO-2 from behind would overshoot it before weapons could be brought to bear. The pilots learned to hunt them in pairs, using coordinated approaches to compensate for the speed differential. Over the course of the war, 32 night witches were killed. 23 members of the regiment received the Hero of the Soviet Union Award, the country's highest military honor. The regiment flew more than 24,000 sorties, dropped over 23,000 tons of bombs, and destroyed railways, fuel depots, ammunition stores, and troop concentrations across the Eastern Front. They were demobilized in 1945, having never been defeated in battle. After the war, the night witches were largely written out of the Soviet narrative. Their achievements were acknowledged, the decorations were real, but their unit was not invited to participate in the victory parade in Moscow. Mixed gender celebrations of Soviet heroism were considered more politically useful than centering the contributions of an all-female regiment. In the West, the night witches were almost completely unknown until decades after the war. The records were in Russian, the unit was obscure, and the Soviet Union was not in the habit of publicizing the details of its military operations. Today, the 588th Night Bomber Aviation Regiment is recognized as one of the most effective tactical bomber units of the Second World War by any country, any gender. Their record of missions flown, bombs delivered and targets destroyed per aircraft and per pilot, was exceptional. Their aircraft were toys. Their results were real. They flew wooden crop dusters against the most mechanized military in history. They cut their engines over enemy positions and dropped bombs in silence. They did it 18 times a night, every night, for years. The Soviet women who terrified the Nazi Air Force, not celebrated the way they should have been, not remembered the way they should be. But the record exists. 24,000 missions, 23,000 tons of bombs, 32 dead. History has a way of forgetting the people who did the work from the wrong side of a prejudice. The night witches did the work anyway. Subscribe if you want more. See you in the next one.